Welcome to the Orange Cactus Coffee Podcast with Mike Kincaid and Jake Goebel. Join them as they experience specialty coffee and document their journey. These friends explore roasts and roasting methods, brewing equipment and techniques, and review the cafes they visit along the way.
Thanks, Brioni, and thank you for joining us for episode 120 of the Orange Cactus Coffee Podcast, where Mike and I talk about customer service, and I made a whole bunch of coffee for some friends over this last weekend. We take a little look-see at that. We get Rube's Good Brain coffee in the mail, and we also take another look at Ryan Brown's Dear Coffee Buyer. I think it's a good one. Let's jump in. Welcome to episode. Mike is crab walking over to the... So we got lights set up in the studio. How do I start this? Okay. Hi, I'm Jake Goebel. With me is Mike, the crab walker, Kincaid. And this is episode 120 of the Orange Cactus Coffee Podcast. We have a little studio set up here in my office. And we've got some lights set up. What up? Mikey's got his iPhone X. We've got a video camera set up. We've got some mics set up. Not just this mic, but microphones set up.
We got a little bit of a mess.
We've got a mess. We've got a whole lot going on. So in order to get from the camera that Mike turns on in order to record our YouTube version of the podcast, he did a little sideways crab walk to get through a little sideways crab shuffle to get to a seat.
What would you have done, Jake?
I wouldn't be running the camera. I can tell you that much.
You would have just crawled under the table?
I would have found a better way of doing it. I don't know.
Good answer.
I would have just done it
better. I don't know. I have no idea.
Done it better than you.
I'm
better than Mike.
Just know I'm better than you.
But because he had like his butt underneath the lights and his upper body up in front of the lights, and so that's how I had to get across. I don't know what I would have done.
You do what
but
you
you're
do.
Taller than I am, so I might have just been able to walk underneath the lights. I'm gonna just walk normal.
I don't know what your problem is, bro.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Yeah, I just walk like a normal human.
Just shuffle on through.
Yeah,
shuffle on through.
Shuffle on through. Shuffle on through. Yeah. Anyways, welcome to the Orange Cactus Coffee Podcast. We are dedicating this particular episode right here, right now, number 120, to the coffee newbie. Now, if you're not a coffee newbie, it doesn't mean you should hang up now or tune out now.
Hang up.
Unless you already turned us off. Then, oops. But
they lost me at crab walk.
It's going to be a reminder. Some of these things are just going to be kind reminders and hopefully entertaining stories for those of you who already know and love specialty coffee. Mm-hmm. But for those of you who are new, like you just got your grinder, like you just got your roaster. Well, probably not roasting if you're new. So you just got your dripper.
Sure, maybe.
If you just got your stuff.
New to certain elements.
Yeah.
Aspects.
This for you. Or you're thinking about starting your own podcast. Whether it's coffee or whether it's not, or whether coffee is just fueling your podcast. We're going to help you out today because we've been getting questions that need answering. So we have a YouTube show, we have a podcast, we have a blog, and we sell coffee. We have an Instagram account, a Facebook page, and a Twitter account.
Yep.
Those are the things that we have.
And a
snappity chat that I've not been Snapchatting very much lately. Chapping. Hold on, I got to sneeze.
Oh, you guys sneeze? Go ahead. Yeah, just sneeze all over the place. Don't worry about it.
There we go. Done.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to add, though, that even if you're not new and you feel like you got a good grasp on the specialty coffee thing, you're having great experiences, you're enjoying your cup each day, we want to remind you that you will expand your enjoyment when you share with others. And there's always an element about it, a way to approach it that is fun, enjoyable, and also not offensive. Because sometimes it's easy to offend others that think, hey, I love coffee. Coffee's my favorite thing. I pop the K-cup and the Keurig, and then, at those moments, you giggle or something like that because that's not really specialty coffee, but that can be offensive. That can offend some people. So how do you approach helping people up their coffee game? And they say, well, the truth is offensive. And I would agree.
Tangent time.
But there's also the way you approach it.
I agree 100%. Because let's just be honest. If you are a jerk, you're going to be a jerk no matter what. This is what I mean by that.
What you mean?
I was making coffee over the weekend, and we'll get into that. I'll let you walk me through it in case I don't forget stuff or start rambling too much. You can kind of keep me on track. But there was someone who was making much about their simple coffee preparation, as if that, of course, is my simple
superior.
Coffee is superior. It is masculine. It is the gauge of masculinity. It's because I drink my coffee this way.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
If that person who's a jerk about simple coffee, garbage coffee, drinking dead coffee, whatever, you're a jerk about that, when you get introduced to specialty coffee and you up your coffee game, there's nothing that's stopping that person from being a jerk still.
Mm-hmm.
So they just happen to be jerk.
They just kind of have that mindset.
Yeah.
Well, I will come at that too from a different direction. Sometimes those individuals, when you labor with them and they finally experience something different, not all, that they might learn something. They might realize, wait a minute, I was way off on that, wasn't I? Yes, you were.
Yes, you were. But that doesn't mean they're going to be humble. Now they're going to be jerks with the new stuff that they got.
Not everybody. Now they're
going to take their new Colombian and beat people in the head with it.
So maybe. So it's kind of maybe a disposition within their personality.
Yeah, the problem is not the coffee. The problem is the person. That's all I'm saying.
Just giving preference or giving way to others and their preference and not saying that your way is the only way. It could technically be the best way, technically speaking.
Yeah, it's coffee, not gospel.
Exactly. But others have different ways that fit within their lifestyle. But there's a way to approach it. And I think, to me, where it all starts is just from the enthusiasm and the enjoyment that it gives you. And when that excitement, when people see that excitement, there's something that is kind of contagious?
Infectious? Contagious?
Let's go with that. Yeah. About that. It draws them to it. They might not even drink coffee, but they're like, you're so excited about this. I just want to hang out with you and listen to you talk about it.
I just want to watch you do it because there's something nice about watching a master craftsman at work. I think I've said this story about picking up the gun before. No, not me at all. Have you ever, have I told the story about the gun? Buying a gun?
Picking up a gun? A while ago. I think it's worth revisiting.
Okay. So this is after the sheriff's department. This was during my other life in LA. I graduated at the top of my sheriff's academy class.
Get that in there.
Have to get that in there.
Trophy?
Have to get it there. I don't keep those around.
Yeah, right.
And one of the things that you win by being the honor cadet or honor graduate is a gun.
An honoree.
So I got a check for a gun, and I went down and I went to the store that it was at, which was like a LAPD something by their academy down in LA. I don't know where. It doesn't matter. What matters is the guy who was the salesman.
Yeah.
The salesman left an incredible imprint about what it means to be a salesman. Like I came in and I said, here's this money. They wrote this check. What gun did they have in mind? They said, one moment, please. And so he goes and he finds and he does his calculations. He thinks he finds the one and then he pulls it out. And it's not an expensive gun. It's less than $300.
Yeah.
But there was nothing more important in the world than that particular item right there, right now. So he pulls it out, he sets it there, he turns it. You know what I mean? Everything is just displayed. Right. He displays it just perfectly. He tells you about it. He talks about it. What are the pros? What are the cons? Where does it fit in with the rest of the
spectrum of guns?
The spectrum of guns.
Okay.
And why he believes this is the one that you are requesting. And he was very precise. He was very particular. All his comments and sentences were measured. And you could tell he was just meticulous about presenting and selling guns. I mean, it could have been anything, but obviously he was passionate about this item right here. And so when we decided to take it, he handles it, he packages it, he does all these things, he gets all the paperwork.
He has a reverence everything, for it, a little
all
respect.
The paperwork was filled out perfectly, very neatly. There was there was almost a ceremony in purchasing the thing. And he made me and the missus feel like $1 million.
Yeah, when you left, you're like, I've got
something special. And we still remember it. And it was almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Not only do I have something special, but I am special.
The experience.
Because this person
That's cool.
humbled himself to give me this kind of service, and I'm a nobody.
Yeah. I mean, that's so different than had you just walked in, right? And the dude's like, yeah, that's this one right here. Give me the check. Boom.
I've been to gun stores I've been to gun shops where the person across is rude and arrogant and kind of everything that you could think condescending,
sure.
everything wrong about purchasing something or a buying experience.
Providing service on any level. Yeah.
And I think that happens a lot when you're buying a gun because there's just kind of the nature of the politically charged nature of the business. I feel like they're always on edge.
Well, I think that's an element, but I think another element that I would say it carries over to any service industry or any industry where you're in retail. You get so far into it and you've been in it so long, you're no longer excited by the simple things that once excited you.
Yeah.
Right? Like someone coming in to just get a simple 9mm handgun, nothing. Whatever, we've got these different,
we've got 100 of those.
Run-of-the-mill stuff.
Yeah.
Same thing with a coffee shop.
Yeah.
You get so deep, we get so maybe enamored with chasing these geishas and these new brew devices and upping our game and, sifters and all these fancy that we forget that first time we just had a fresh roasted coffee. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like that experience, and somebody comes in excited about something so elemental, it doesn't excite us. And we kind of disconnect from our first love in that sense. Like our first infatuation with this process, we've left it behind for better things when there's really not better things. It's a building process.
So recently we caught a little bit of heat from some of the homies on the interwebs when we said that we're not good with numbers. Somebody said, hey, you guys are bankers, right?
Wait a minute.
Don't you work for a bank? How are you not good with numbers? And
full disclosure.
In all fairness, I write policy and procedure. I'm good with words. Now, there was a time when I did deal with numbers and I had to balance a drawer and be a teller, and Mike was a teller. Mike, of course, has a much longer and storied history in banking than myself because I'm new to it. But the one thing that I miss most about being a frontline teller is counting out the money.
Yeah, counting the money.
I enjoyed counting money out. I enjoyed
it's fun playing with others' money, right?
Well, just the counting of it, the presenting it, the fanning it out, and then presenting it to them. It was just something special. Mm-hmm. Like they cared about cash, obviously.
Well, it's theirs,
I cared about cash, but I enjoyed.
There was a presentation to it.
Presentation.
I enjoyed that as well.
That you taught me, and what I really liked about. Some people complain about the new bills. Mm-hmm. The new hundreds are blue. The new 50s are red.
Yeah, they got like a tint.
The 20s are still green, and the 10s are yellow.
Yellowish, yeah.
What I liked is taking some of the crusty guys that complained about it was all fancy money and monopoly money and looking all this other thing, and it was all greenbacks when I was a kid, is when you point out the different colors to them and how it kind of looks on the table, they can be like, that is pretty cool.
I kind of see.
And the way the different colors are there, especially when you got new, clean, crisp bills.
Yeah.
Looks good.
It does.
It looks good and it feels good. And it feels good presenting that to them.
Exactly.
You can do the same thing with coffee. You can do the same thing with anything.
Well, it makes you feel good.
If you care.
Because it makes the person in front of you that you're serving feel good.
Yes. Care about serving. I think that's one of the things I didn't like about law enforcement is I felt like my nature is to serve and to give.
Yeah.
And the kind of the culture was to lord it over and dominate. And
it turns from proactive to reactive. And you're just reactive.
And some
you
of
do
those
this,
things
I do that.
Didn't fit well with like I long to serve you.
Yeah.
If I have to fight you, I will. But that's not where I'm going to start. I'm not going to start argumentative and antagonistic. I want to start from a point of service.
Sure. I think that's
Servitude,
good service goes beyond the reactive nature. You don't simply have a customer come in and or whatever situation and they tell you why they're here, what they want to do, and you just react to them. Good service is proactive. Before they even know why they're there, you've already engaged them. You're already looking for ways to serve them. Yeah. You've already anticipated what they need. That's proactive. And I think that's the difference. You get in, customer comes up, I'm going to wait. I'm going to stand here until he says hi, until I know he's ready. That's all reactive, and that's a lot of times bad service. I don't think there's ever an instance, and maybe I'm wrong because I'm just speaking off the cuff here, that proactive service, you would ever have a bad experience with proactive service. Somebody that's proactively looking to serve you.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe if they're
I think sometimes
they've got attitude.
if they feel pressured by your proactivity, But a good proactive salesman typically can read that
exactly
and say, hey,
that's part of the proactiveness.
Yeah.
You're picking up on what they're putting down.
Right, because it's about them, not about you.
Yeah.
And as soon as you read that, hey, no problem. Take your time. I'm going to be, if you have any questions, anything whatsoever, I'm going to be right over here. You take your time. Let me know what you want.
I can tell you don't like me touching you, so I'm going to cease.
Yes. Stop hugging me, please.
Welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
I am so happy that you've come in.
Oh, you're the only one today. Come on, sit down. Let's have a cup of coffee.
Can you please take your hands off me? Thank you.
No, I just need to know where the nearest bank is. Oh, sorry. Okay.
All right.
Well, take this with
let
you.
me throw my arm around you and point you in the right direction. Yeah. So last week I had a football camp. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and we got talking about coffee as I was sitting there with some of the football moms. Okay. And they said, hey, well,
wait a minute.
I want to try some of your coffee. You should have a sampler. It was actually the day that I was talking with Mike. Mike was in one of his moods. He gets into the zone and he just goes. He's not a talker, but once he's in the zone, you can't stop him. And so we had a long conversation at the football camp. I was on the phone walking around talking about coffee stuff. And as I sat down, you remember that now, don't you? Yeah, you do.
No, I was high on something.
You were high on mushroom coffee. You were high on mushroom coffee again. And so after that conversation, I sat down.
Cigars. Anyway.
And they wanted to talk coffee then. And so I said, yeah, no problem. And they talked about sampler packs because that's what we were talking about. Oh, yeah. And one of the lessons that came out of all this, I'd like to bring up here in a moment. But they said, well, we're having a pool party on Saturday for one of the kids, and I was coming down, and they said, well, you want to make coffee for us?
Makes sense, right? You have a coffee company, you roast coffee, you talk about coffee, you know how to make coffee.
I said, are you sure?
Because it's going to be kind of coffee.
It's going to be deep. It's going to be deep. I'm not just bringing some little coffee, throwing in your coffee machine. You know what I mean? It's an experience. And they said, sure.
Like hiring the entertainment for the party.
So I showed up and I made coffee for like 2 hours while I was there. I stood behind the bar and I made coffee for not only them, but people that would come up. So there was 3 ladies and I made 5 different coffees for them. And then there was one lady that I made she wanted a cup of coffee and I made her a cup of coffee. And I told her she could have it with cream and sugar. She tasted it and said, I'm just going to drink it like this. It doesn't need any cream and sugar. And she normally takes her coffee with cream and sugar. But I think I started with the natty. I think I started with the Ethiopian.
You came out of the gate with
the natty. And then I went to the Colombian.
Because pop you in the face first.
Because they were like, the Colombian's so strong. I don't like, to them, Colombia meant strong coffee. And one of the ladies, she's like, I would not buy Colombian coffee because I know I'm going to have a bad experience. She tasted our Colombian and was like, wow, that's incredible. This is not what I expected.
Yeah.
This is totally different. And then I made the Kenyan, and then I made the Hondo, and then I made a Hondo decaf. So I went Hondo, regular Hondo decaf
still, huh?
And one of the ladies, she said, based on the flavor notes, because I brought the cards and we were talking, she said, I would have bought the Kenyan. And she said, and that's the only one I didn't like. But after reading the flavor notes, that's the one I would have bought. And then one of their complaints was, if I buy 12 ounces of coffee and I don't like it, I'm stuck with all this coffee.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And so they were like, it would be nice to be able to buy samplers, a smaller amount or 3 ounces of all the coffees or 4 ounces of all the coffees.
Yeah, sure.
And be able to get smaller amounts to taste them.
See which one you like before you commit to too much.
Before you commit to it.
Yeah,
because she said, I would have bought that. I would have been disappointed. And I never would have told you, and I never would have come back.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not, like, a lot of people, they're just not going to go out of their way to tell you
exactly
what they really thought.
They're just not going to return.
And
I think you can expect that on some level no matter what. You're not always going to please everyone.
Yeah.
But that's good feedback.
What kills me is that if she would have ordered the Kenyan and she wouldn't have liked it, but she loves the Hondo,
she never would have had a chance to try it.
She never would have had the chance to try it.
Yeah.
And I wonder how many of our customers that have not returned, but we have a lot of return customers.
We do have a good base.
I think the majority of our customers are return customers.
Nice. Yeah,
surprisingly. It's like some of you guys come back.
Sure you want? This is your 10th order.
15.
16.
We've got
35. Yeah.
We've got a handful of guys who have 15, 16 orders.
That's great. We appreciate them.
And
their feedback. You know what? But I think that, and we've talked about this, and something that brandy wine, in my experience, has always done. In any order, they include a sample of something else.
Yeah.
maybe on the other end of the flavor wheel spectrum, right? To say, try this too. Mm-hmm. And I think it's great because especially if it's their first order, you give them an opportunity to try something a little different that they didn't choose, but maybe they'll be surprised.
Maybe they'll like that one more.
Exactly. Like in her case, oh, well, you sent me the Hondo. I'll try that too. Oh, this is where it's at.
This is the one I want.
Because I think that's one thing to keep in mind, right? With flavor tasting notes when you're trying to introduce people. People, when they think of the flavor tasting notes, if they've never had specialty coffee, natural coffee, that doesn't have the added flavoring, it's not the same. Like when you buy a flavored coffee that says blueberries or raspberries or hazelnut, that flavor's sprayed all over the beans.
Right.
And they kind of just taste that artificial sweetness of that flavor.
Right.
It's not the natural flavor.
It's not the natural flavor of the coffee
and so
itself.
In communicating how a coffee tastes, that can be challenging. And last thing you want to be is deemed kind of deceptive. So that's...
I ain't getting no blueberries to the face with this. What's wrong with these guys?
What is up with that? Yeah. Close your eyes and imagine. Well, yeah, now I'm just pretending, so.
So I went from that birthday party to another birthday party.
You made more coffee?
Then I had the stuff in the trunk, and I'm sitting there just chillaxing, and the host of the party comes up, and he says, hey, will you come make us some coffee? And so I made his mom coffee, a cup of coffee.
Nice.
And then it just went from there.
What were you using to make these coffees? What kind of methods?
So I was just doing pour-overs, and I did one AeroPress. Because I wanted the ladies at the first party to see some different methods.
Yeah.
But I used the blue bottle for the saguaro coffees, and I used the V60 for the chain fruit and king cup coffees.
The Kenyan. Yeah.
Kind of the Kenyan, the Ethiopian, kind of the fruitier ones were in the V60, and then I used the blue bottle dripper for the other ones. And I brought my grinder, I brought the Bonavita, I brought everything.
So the overall, it seemed as though people enjoyed the experience.
Yeah, it was great.
People's
minds were blown.
Yeah.
Minds blown. It was kind of just a weekend of coffee, and it overshadowed everything else that we were doing there. And I made Guatemalans there. I made the Ethiopians. I made Kenyans. I made the Hondo. And I just had conversations with people that didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, you making coffee? What do you do? And it's like, well, what kind of coffee? How do you like it? They would tell me what they like, sometimes with a little bit of arrogance, and I would...
A little bit of pride, sometimes with shame, because they...
Sometimes with a little bit of shame.
Judged already, but...
And so I made it easy on them, and I made them coffee that I thought that they would like, and all of them had, great positive feedback. So one of them said, ooh, this is a little strong.
Yeah.
And so you come to understand, if you know what people drink. What do you normally drink? Oh, I normally drink Keurig. They're at a 23-to-1, 24-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
Like they might have a super dark roasted coffee where it's really bitter, but it is light. It's watered down.
Yeah. It's a very wide ratio.
It's not the same. Yeah. It's not the same of what they're getting.
So that's good. So you start a conversation. What do you like now? Where are you at? Here, experience this.
This is what I could recommend.
Yeah.
And I give them a couple options, and then they pick.
That's cool. I think that's
and it was awesome.
A nice way to approach it.
I served coffee for about 4 hours. And it was awesome.
Because just telling people that coffee can be better, that I've tasted this, that I've had this experience, it has its limits. You want them to have that same experience, and they have to taste it.
And then Sunday, I'm going to church, and I'm talking to another dude, and he's like, hey, you do coffee? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, I want to have better coffee. He's like, I'm at work right now, and they have the Keurig, and the boss provides the K-Cups. He's like, so it's free, so that's nice. But he said, but there's this one guy at work, and he opens up his coffee, he makes his separate, and it just takes over. The smells just take over. And over and over and over, I heard that, wow, it smells great. Wow, the smell. Wow, the smell. Like anytime I was inside, the first coffee making was outside, so I don't think the smell was as strong. The aroma was not quite as powerful.
Tantalizing.
Exactly. So people would come in, and they'd smell the coffee, and then they'd smell the food, and then they'd be like, I need some coffee and food.
They don't come in and say, wait, you got Folgers going there?
Yeah, exactly. They know it's not Folgers.
Isn't that their commercial when they smell it, get out of bed? Folgers
The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Boom.
Something along those lines.
Yeah. That's it.
So he wanted a better coffee experience.
So how do you tell someone if you can't share a cup with them?
I invite them over. I say, hey, well, you and the missus got to come over to the house and we'll do coffee. We'll talk.
But then he says, well, you're a little too weird for me. Just tell me how I can have a better experience.
Then I just point him to the website. I don't have time. I don't have time for that. If I'm not for you, that's cool. I realize I'm not for everybody. But
he wants to talk to you. Maybe he doesn't have time. I'm just saying, I'm trying to lead you into providing some resource.
So he has time to talk, but he doesn't have time to check out the website, listen to the podcast?
Yeah, he doesn't want to read. He just wants you to tell him how he can have a better experience.
Grind fresh coffee.
Okay.
Buy whole bean, get a grinder, and wing it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I've never had that experience where somebody was serious but didn't want to.
They're always serious.
Learn more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Are you saying that you have to have a level of commitment to truly then up your game?
Yes.
Like if you are serious about this, you need to come over and I'll show you.
Yeah. I like the conversation I had with the people. Remember the flat white at the other church that I visited.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not what a flat white is.
Yeah.
It's just stronger. It's like a latte, just stronger.
Just more concentrated.
Just more concentrated. It's a concentrated latte.
I think that's the ideal, giving people an experience. But there are some certain things that you can, I think, educate people on.
You're right.
Then they go back home and they realize
You're right.
This coffee doesn't even have a roast date.
You're right. That's where I start looking at the roast date,
looking
at the freshness, understanding what it is that you're currently drinking, and that when you have a K-cup, that coffee is dead in there. Mm-hmm. That's dead coffee. It's been roasted and ground up a long time ago.
Exactly.
And then he was like, well, can I just grind it before I take it to work? And I was like, well, think of it this way. Coffee has a shelf life, just like any organic material, right? So if you grind it in the morning, it might last you till lunch, but the longer you keep it, the faster it's dying, the faster it's being exposed to oxygen.
Exactly.
So the faster it's going to be dead. Now, I'm not opposed to grinding in the morning and taking for lunch. We've done that before.
Absolutely.
But I would recommend getting a grinder.
Well, you start with what's best, what's better, what's good, what's okay, and what's not good.
You know what I mean? Start with the very best, and then you move back. What do you want to What do you want to start with?
What is your lifestyle or day going to allow you to do?
And I think a good place to start is looking for a roast date and grinding your coffee fresh. And I said, you can use the K-cup. It's good. All you do is take a scale, measure the water that's coming out, and I've measured the basket. You can put about 18 grams of coffee in there. Can't be too fresh because it'll blow up your Keurig machine.
Exactly.
But then also, you throw a little bit of third wave water inside your K-cup machine, your Keurig machine, and you will get a little better coffee flavor.
Yeah. If you're like, hey, I'm sticking with the machine, there are things you can do.
Yeah, you stick with the machine.
Even at that level.
There are ways to up your game with the machine.
So that's great advice. And I think that's really key. I think one of the things that's just awakening people to where they're at. Like they don't realize, I didn't realize that coffee had
a shelf life.
There was a whole, all the information about what really makes a good cup of coffee, I was so ignorant to. And I didn't know that.
And there's a bunch of old wives' tales out there that are still all over the internet. Of course, I don't try to find everyone. Like one
grind it, keep it in your freezer.
Exactly.
And you're good to go.
I just had the freezer experience today. Somebody asked, a friend on Facebook asked, hey, I'm up in my coffee game. I'm doing whole bean and I'm grinding. What else should I do? And this gal, keep it in the freezer. That's going to make it better.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it better. It doesn't make it better.
Most likely will make it worse.
Worse because now you're adding moisture and freezing it.
Yep.
And
so I think that's a good place because sometimes, when you awaken people to, well, let's just think about what coffee is. Like you said, it's, it's an organic product. It grows. It's in a cherry. It's actually a seed. It's really not, a bean.
Yeah.
And whatever.
So if you can vacuum seal it and take all the moisture and all the oxygen out before you freeze it, that's cool.
And some ways to do that too, as you're talking, Jake, I'm thinking of using other points of, references within food that help people capture this.
Right.
Like steak or freezer burn with frozen hamburger patties. Yeah. That's the same thing.
You wouldn't do you cut up your orange? Do you cut up your apple, cut up a peach, and then let it sit for days on end and expect it to be fresh? What happens to it?
It oxidizes. Yeah. And those visuals sometimes help people. Coffee is very similar to that.
So
keep those in mind.
So those are nice places to start. When you're fresh, use third wave water. Grind your coffee fresh.
What is third wave water?
We already talked about that. It's a water additive.
We did? Today?
I just mentioned it.
Oh, well, then I wasn't paying attention.
I don't know what you were doing. You're playing on your phone.
If you can't use third-way water, filtered water,
spring water.
Next best bet.
So distilled water, 1 gallon of distilled water, 1 packet of third wave water. You're going to have a
Just try it.
Yeah.
Give it a go.
Just try it. We throw it into all our coffee orders.
Yep.
So
you can try it.
That's a place for you to try it, but get fresh roasted coffee and then grind it fresh.
Mm-hmm.
And measure it out and change one variable at a time. So find a recipe, 20 to 1, 15 to 1, whatever it is, coffee to water, and then start walking it back or dialing it in. If you don't know where your baseline is, it's hard for you to start changing variables.
Especially if you change too many.
Even if you're using a Keurig machine, like I said, 18 in, what's the water out for the small, medium, and large? Measure it. Find out.
Yeah.
And then say, okay, so if I use a small cup, this 18 grams to this is this ratio. The medium is this ratio. The large is this ratio. Try each of them. See which one you like. It takes a
little bit of work.
Takes a little bit of time.
Good things take work.
That's right.
But once you find out, it gets easier and it gets a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And another mark of a good coffee is the bag will have more information. Not only a roast date, but it might even tell you what type of processing, how that coffee was processed.
Yeah.
And that is something that's, to me, was very unique. Like, what do you mean processed?
Right.
And there's all these different ways that coffee can be harvested and processed before it's roasted.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those ways, which is kind of the most common, is what they call washed, or an AKA wet process. And I just thought we'd share a little bit of information about that, courtesy of our friend.
The coffee legend.
It's not our friend.
Yeah, it's not our friend.
I'm friends. You won't return my call, but no, I haven't called him.
We don't have any friends.
Yeah, we don't have any friends.
Ryan Brown, dear coffee buyer, coffee legend.
And this time, since this is a paragraph, roughly, I'm going to let Jake read. Because apparently last time my reading was...
It was great.
Atrocious.
It was great.
Atrocious.
I was trying to tell him to keep reading, that people enjoy it. But he wasn't feeling it. He wasn't listening to me. So, okay.
Yeah. So read a little bit about what this wet processed, a.k.a. or
washed process, a.k.a. wet process. This process is applied to most of the coffee that you think about when you think about coffee. The washed process is an umbrella term for any approach that removes all of the fruit, skin, and mucilage from the seed within a few days through pulping and washing. So mucilage is kind of the slimy stuff inside. So if you take like a grape, I don't know if you've ever squeezed the skin.
Mm-hmm.
You've ever squeezed the skin off a grape? That's
just
kind of what they're doing.
Outside layer.
The outside layer is the fruit skin, and then there's a little mucilage, a little mucus inside there. The first step involves using a pulping machine to remove the outer layer of skin from the rest of the fruit, resulting in a sticky, mucilage-coated bean. The sticky mucilage layer is then either loosened via fermentation, usually in tanks, with or without water, or mechanically removed via a demucilager, an upright cylindrical machine that forces coffee through narrow slots, removing the mucilage by agitation as it passes through. So kind of the slimy coating gets pulled off.
Yes.
Fermentation relies on 12 to 72 hours of microbial reactions by yeasts and bacteria to loosen the mucilage from the seed. After fermentation or demucilaging, the producer rinses or washes the coffee to remove any remaining mucilage. Hold on a second. Oh, yeah, there it is. I thought maybe the 2 was missing, but it's not. This is typically done in long channels, and the producer often agitates the coffee using an auger or manually operated paddles. The producer then machine dries or sun dries the coffee in parchment until its moisture content goes down to about 11%. Machine drying typically takes about 1 to 2 days in devices such as guardiolas, large rotating drums with circulating hot air, or silos pumped with hot air.
Oh, big dryers.
Big dryers. The big air dry, big hair dryers.
Big coffee dryers.
Yeah, exactly. The most common sun drying method in Central America is patio drying, which usually takes 3 to 6 days. During patio drying, the producer spreads the coffee in thin layers on a paved, sun-heated surface and turns the coffee frequently to homogenize moisture content. I mean, kind of keep it all the same.
Keep it even.
Keep it even. In the late afternoon, she typically combines the coffee into pyramidal mounds and covers them to minimize overnight moisture condensation. Another sun drying technique that has grown in popularity, especially within specialty coffee production, is drying on tables, also known as raised beds or African beds.
Nice.
These are mesh top surfaces that allow air to flow through the thin layer of beans. So kind of get the top and the bottom there.
Yep. Expose it both.
By raising the beans off the ground, drying tables avoid inevitable parchment breaking from walking on them and limits their exposure to the extreme temperatures of a patio. The producer typically rakes the beans through the drying days and occasionally wraps them at night to minimize condensation. They are, however, less prone to condensation because they do not reach the extreme temperatures of patio-dried coffee. This method can take anywhere from 7 to 15 days. In most cases, washed coffee is ready for shipment within weeks. As compared with other methods, coffee prepared with the washed process is unlikely to have fruity or off flavors, and it tends to emphasize sweetness, acidity, and the truest expression of coffee plant variety.
Boom.
Boom. That's what Scott loves too. He loves him some washed coffee.
Well, for good reason.
And it's the common coffee.
It's the common.
It's the common coffee.
Well, for most. I mean, but that's where we're going to start. And we'll read the other methods in the coming weeks.
Another time. And in the meantime, check the show notes and get your own copy of Dear Coffee Buyer.
Don't wait for us to read it.
Ryan Brown killed it and you need it. Let's just be honest. You need the book.
And there were some good visuals in that section.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
There's some good illustrations.
If you have a difficult time picturing what I'm talking about, well,
he's got some pictures.
He's got some pictures in there and words.
And words.
In case you listened to us the first time we talked about it, thought it was a picture, but sorry, Ryan.
Thought it was just illustrations. Step one, and you just look at the picture. Yeah.
And speaking of killer illustrations and including samples and orders, I guess it's time to talk about Rube's Brain Coffee.
What's in front of
Good
us?
Brain Coffee. Right here.
Right here, right now.
So I wanted to be the very first order, and I think I was. I wanted to be the first one to get Rube's Good Brain Coffee. And my man Dutch, we've been chit-chatting a little bit on the Facebook, on the interwebs, on the Instagrams, the Twitters, the wherevers. And he's rocking an Aleo at the moment.
An Aleo? I thought it was Aleo.
He's rocking an Aleo at the moment.
Oh, there we go.
The Bullet R1.
The Bullet, that's right. We just call it the Bullet.
The Bullet. We just call it the Bullet. The Bullet roaster. AKA the world's most efficient roaster.
Bullet.
So he's got him a roaster, and he's got a lot more coffee experience than we do. But he's kind of coming back into the game. And as he's doing that, he's working on branding, offerings, kind of communicating with the market to see what they want. And he offered a Colombian La Palmera. And you got to pick the roast that you wanted. You got to pick what roast you want. Huh. I picked a medium roast. He threw in a 4-ounce sample of a light roast.
Nice.
So I bought 12 ounces, and I'm killing it. I'm drinking all of it. Not sharing with Mikey. Sorry, Dutch. And I know he said I need to, but I'm not.
Well, he said you could, I think.
Oh.
Feel free or something like
Feel free to share with Mike.
So no obligation.
So that means feel free to not share with Mike as well, right?
Yeah, if you send something to Jake and said feel free or consider, it's not. I'm not going to.
Yeah, it's not happening.
So if you want my opinion, don't you have to send it to me or specifically instruct Jake?
I don't care about your opinion.
That's all right. I don't need to give you opinion.
So I've been drinking it all, and I got it like the next day off roast.
Yeah,
something like that.
Wow.
And so I've been drinking it, and I've been going on the flavor journey with it as it's getting better.
Yeah.
It's getting better every day.
Yeah.
The first day we drank it, the missus was like, yeah, I don't care much for it. Yeah. The next day, she's like, this is good. What is this?
It's like you had it yesterday.
Exactly. Same thing you had yesterday, baby. But that's just kind of the case of dealing with organic, right? Compounds is that it's going to change over time. And there's a sweet spot that you want to be in. So if you get the coffee as fresh as you can, then you can choose
got the most opportunity
when in that sweet spot you're going to consume it.
Yeah.
Or you can drink a little bit every day and figure it out for yourself, where that sweet spot is for that coffee for you. But if not, then the roaster is picking for it. The manufacturer is picking, hey, 3 months later, this is your sweet spot.
Good
drink
for
this
18
dead coffee.
Months. Yeah.
So
that's cool.
This is the first order from Rube's Good Brain Coffee. And I appreciate the efforts for a new roaster, right? It's not a real polished presentation because it's just getting going.
Yeah.
But he made it special. And I think that is kind of the lesson for all of us. Like, it came in a USPS branded flat rate box, but took the time to brand it for Rube's Good Brain as well.
Yeah.
So there's stickers on there. There's a sample inside there. There's a custom artwork.
That's cool.
Maybe we can get a picture of this and throw it. Kind of, you put stuff up on the YouTube, but whatever.
How would you know?
Because you told me you do it.
Oh, okay.
So this is great because it was. It was a kid that drew some art here for us. And it says, I'm sure that a husky like me would love coffee more than cocoa, although I am the only coffee-loving husky. And this is going up on the wall.
Yes.
And not only is it a husky drinking coffee, but it looks like there's a little bit of husky latte art in that coffee there.
Oh, yeah. That? Yeah.
So I don't know whether that's
than you.
Yeah, I think that was the message being sent, that this is what lattes is supposed to look like. You stink. So there's that. But the coffee's been really good. I've tried the medium roast. I have actually been saving the light roast for you, Mikey. And I just appreciate the little things that people do. You can't fake care.
There you go. That's what it comes down to. When somebody cares, whether they have, like us or unlike us, or never mind.
If they got custom bags, unlike us, or they got custom boxes like us.
They ain't got money like us. And you're just making do, and you're trying to figure it out, and you need revenue to improve things. You got to start somewhere. But you can always show you care.
You could always show you care.
And it's evident here. And so that's cool. So wait, you said I could try the light?
Yeah.
I thought you said I couldn't have any.
Yeah, I changed my mind. But I've been drinking the medium. I don't know if you're going to get any of that.
I don't like where this is going.
That might be all gone by the time.
That's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. One last thing. Are we running long? What do we got on time?
I have no idea. Oh, yeah. I guess it's about time to wrap it up.
Well, we got to do something here real quick. Or maybe we don't.
Should we give an update?
No, we don't.
The stickers and the cards?
Well, I'm kind of all over the place. Let's talk about this because it was on the table. I think it'd be rude not to.
Okay, let's
be rude.
Don't set moves down. We're going to slide it just to the side.
There you go. I couldn't reach over there.
All right.
So...
that's ever stopped you. Perfect.
So this guy here. I don't know if you've seen
this guy. It is a black cylinder or a dark gray cylinder with a black lid on the top, and that lid has a handle, and it's kind of a screw top, and it says ultralight coffee press. Makes coffee you'll love, freedom to caffeinate and hydrate anywhere, guaranteed. Leak-proof lid with loop. That's here, like our loopies, micro filters for grit-free coffee, and vacuum-insulated ultralight bottle. So, make beautiful coffee anywhere. Conquer your day. That's right, baby. Once caffeinated, stay hydrated all day with a single bottle. Leave out the filters to take water, juice, wine, etc. The possibilities are endless.
They are.
So they want you to... Hold on a second.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get caffeinated, then hydrated with wine the rest of my day?
You got it. 8 hours hot, 8 hours cold.
This is what your office needs. Your office needs coffee in the morning and wine at lunch.
So this isn't the first product this company's come out with.
Bro.
But this is like the refined ultralight version.
Yeah.
On the Kickstarter, which I backed.
Oh, this is a Kickstarter.
Yeah. The light is 16-ounce vacuum-insulated stainless steel French press and hydration bottle. So the way this guy works, I've used it a couple times.
So you unscrew the top.
And
inside, it's like there's a little rod with a little, like one of those little pop things, like those little pop, the back of your phone poppers. So you kind of put your
it's like a French press. It looks just like a French press.
Only this part does not look like a French press.
The French press has that on top.
No.
It doesn't?
Different. And so then there's this little plastic, I don't know, seal. This little
it's kind of like the top ring,
on it, ring, and then there's another ring for the filter basket itself. It looks kind of like the Keurig, the black bullet or the silver bullet, the gray bullet there, and it looks a little bit like that. It's a basket with a super fine filter, and kind of a ring on the top there. Oh, it's a double filter.
Yeah, so. This double one, filter. It does look just like, almost looks like two of the Keurig baskets.
Yeah.
One goes inside the other, and it's a double filter. You don't put anything.
That's sweet.
That's kind of my first thought is, you put the coffee in the basket, and then you put the lid on the basket. But no, this guy doesn't work like that. It's a filter within a filter to give you an ultra clean cup. So the way it works, it's quite simple. Coffee goes in the cylinder, what do you call it? The Thermos?
Yeah, the thermos.
There we go.
The coffee goes in the thermos?
And then you add the hot water.
Uh-huh.
And I think they say let it steep for 3-4 minutes.
So just like a French press.
Exactly. Stir it up, and then you put the lid on, and you press it down, and the filter has got a little rubber seal around the outside, so it's pushes all the coffee to the bottom, which they also claim stops extraction, kind of seals it at the bottom, and then you simply just drink from the top. And then you could put the lid on it to seal it up completely and, hook it to one of those carabiner hooks or something on your bag.
Take it with you all day.
Yeah, exactly. The other nice thing you can do with this that I thought was neat, and I didn't bring them because I'm an idiot, is it came with, or you can buy paper filters if you want a paper filter taste. And the paper filter simply goes between the two mesh filters. You put it in there, smash this on, and now you've got pretty much a triple filtered
coffee.
Ultra clean. So
triple filtered, ultra clean Espro on the go.
What I think makes this, in my opinion, pretty neat is that with the French press, my biggest objection was that the typical recommendation of going coarse doesn't usually give you the nicest cup. But you can't go too fine because the screens usually on the French press
aren't fine enough.
Yeah, they allow
really
way too much silt and dirt.
Dirty.
Reason is because immersion brew is very inefficient. The extraction, the way the water, with the ground just sitting on the bottom, it's hard for that to kind of transfer up through the water very efficiently, as opposed to a pour over where water is constantly moving. Clean, fresh water is constantly moving through the grounds and extracting at a good rate. You can increase this by doing agitation. Gym 7 has an awesome method. I highly recommend you check it out. But point being, you can go a little finer, which will help you get a better extraction. Because it's ultra filtered, you won't get a dirty cup.
Yeah. Double filtered, triple filtered. Yeah. I love it.
So that's
how much is that, Espro?
This guy was it was $30.
$30
on the Kickstarter.
What is he now?
It's a good question. Let's see if we can find it. I should have had that pulled up.
Yep, you should have.
But last thing, my biggest con is I'm not a huge fan of aluminum or insulated
because they're hot.
Yes, hot. Yes, you want it to stay hot, but sometimes it's too hot. It's so hot that I can't drink it for the first 30 minutes. Or like if I'm driving, I have to leave the lid off because I want some of that steam and heat to come out so I can start drinking it. That now it's not sealed, so you're kind of defeating the purpose. So that's my negative with it. Is it's a little too hot.
It is nice though that you backed a Kickstarter product and actually got it.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
That's a little different.
I've gotten everything I've backed. Some just delayed. Yeah. This was their second go around on it, and so I think they were good to go. But they have a bigger one, the Espro Press. This is the ultralight, and I'm trying to find.
How is it to clean? I should probably look for it. Well, you tell them about cleaning it because it sounds a little bit like a hot mess.
It's the same as a French press. It's the same as a French press. I mean, in fact, there's no different. You just have to rinse out the canister, rinse out the thermos part, and these filters come apart. The two mesh filters come apart, and you just rinse them underwater. That's it. That's all I did. So, pretty simple. I don't think it was very hard. Did you find anything?
12 ounce, $34.
This is a 16.
It's 12 ounce, $50. So
that's probably the press, the big boy.
Espro stainless steel, 12 ounces, $40. I don't see. Yeah, the big boy is 18 ounces. He's $100. I'm not seeing the 16 ounce.
Might not be at market yet.
I think it is $78.15. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing another size, $78. But none of them look just like yours. None of them have that handle on the top. None of them on Amazon have that handle. But there's a $73 one. For how much? 10 ounce. Oh, 15 ounces. So the 15 ouncer is $78 and the regular 12 ouncer is $34. And yeah. But none of them are the same one.
Okay.
So this
45.
This one right here, this ultralight gray, is not on Amazon.
Not yet. Their Kickstarter says that the expected retail is $45.
Okay.
I paid $35. it's 45. So I think 45 is reasonable because it doubles.
But you can buy extra paper filters and extra microfilters. So you can find replacement stuff, which is very cool.
It is. The other cool thing, I think I mentioned it, or maybe I didn't. You can do tea. You can totally do tea. So
the other thing that's cool is Amazon sponsors and recommends K-Cup pods for this particular brewer.
Oh, for this guy?
Yeah.
For the ultralight?
It's clearly the algorithm is wrong.
Oh, I gotcha. Doesn't add up.
No, it doesn't add up. You're not using K-Cups for this guy, but which is interesting because we did give away, remember, portable, the Barsetto.
Oh, yeah, the Barsetto.
Remember, we had that one gifted to us, and we gave that one away.
See, this does the same thing, but I think less. It's a little less. It's a little more compact.
Yeah, it's real coffee.
It's a little better
instead of the K-Cup thing.
In my
But then
opinion.
again, the Barsetto Tripresso, you didn't have to use a K-Cup.
You didn't have to.
But you could.
But it confined the coffee to a K-Cup space, which I think is inefficient.
Right.
This lets you French press. You could swirl it, get a little agitation going, improve the extraction. Press it, you're good to go.
So this is a caffeinator and a hydrator and a wininator.
And a wininator. Mm-hmm. Yeah, or a spiritinator.
All right. Let's wrap it up. There's one last thing we got to do, Mike.
Oh, we got one more thing?
Yeah, we got one more thing to do it.
That was it. We got to go.
No, we have to determine a winner.
Did you want to do that?
Yeah, you said it.
I know, but I didn't know if we had time. Okay, we got 4 minutes. So what Jake is talking about, now it's been maybe 10 days ago from when this airs. We put out a photo of Jake kind of looking intensely into the camera. I'm staring at who knows what, and we asked people to comment. And we said that the best caption may win a prize.
And this was all Mikey.
What do you mean?
This was all Mikey.
You're in the photo. It can't be all
I
me.
know, but this was your idea. So great job. This was all Mikey's idea.
It does look like kind of a funny screen capture. I know it's not dramatic, but I was like, this one is like a thinking. Like, what are we thinking? So we wanted to share a few of the ones we enjoyed or thought were funny, and then we're going to try and pick a winner, which is not easy. Yeah. So I'm on Instagram right now, and I'll read some of the comments from Instagram, and then we'll jump over to the Facebook because we also put it there.
Okay.
We had from Brent Wesley. He says, that look you give someone who claims that they coined the phrase blueberries to the face when you clearly know you invented it.
You know what I'm saying?
That's pretty good. Let's see what else we got. You on Facebook?
Yeah,
you can help me out. Okay,
yeah.
you get to.
I'll get to the Facebook.
So Mike the Blue Cow says, a little context, Jake cleans up the mess. Mike says, thanks, Jake. You're my savory. Jake, not sure you're using that word right.
So good. Because you're not. You're not using that word right.
You are my savory, buddy.
It is way down.
Yeah.
Way down the list. We put out too much stuff.
It is. There's 20 comments on Facebook, too. Third Wave Water chimed in and says, when you finish the podcast and realize you never hit record.
That would stink. That would really, really stink.
So those were, I think, some of my favorite, if I were to condense it. They all were funny, though. They all had, I don't know, enjoyable. Yeah. It was fun reading. I'm on there. You want me to read or you got some?
Yeah. Well, I've got them right here.
Okay. What do you got?
All right. Who took my stapler? Jeremy Davis.
Is that my stapler? That's good.
I'm just not sure why I'm not tasting the blueberries, Mike.
No blueberries to the face.
Mike, Jake, stop talking. I'm engaged at the moment. There. Okay, proceed. When Dad, this one
hit you?
Yeah, Matt killed it. Matt went straight to the heart. He took the dagger and he went straight to my heart with it. So he's got two of them that just killed me. When Dad lectures you about exceeding your budget for packaging coffee. Oh, curse you, Matt Gomez.
Very good.
And when Dad says you can't upgrade to priority mail.
That's a good thought, but we can't afford it. I like it. What else we got here?
How do you feel when there's no coffee? By Michael Whiting. Depresso.
I like this one by Diane. I thought that was pretty funny. Our faces when someone says they're a coffee connoisseur, but they only drink coffee from a Keurig.
Shaking my head. Look, Mike, I asked you to roast up some blueberries to the face. Now, does this taste like blueberries? I taste strawberries, not blueberries.
That one's good.
And when the caller on the line asks what goes best with pumpkin spice creamer. Well, the answer is the Guatemalan. But anyways.
There you go. Yeah, in case you're wondering. James says, Mike, now let's talk about roasting.
So good. I think for me, my vote would be Matt Gomez, because the packaging one.
Yeah.
That was my favorite. But it's your thing. I want to let you pick. When Dad says you can't upgrade to priority mail, that's my favorite one.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I want to pick a winner from both platforms.
What are we giving away anyways?
Well, that's up to you. I picked the winner. Now, I got some ideas. One winner, we'll have an overall winner, and then we'll have the runner-up winner. The overall winner, I know
you're all winners. You're all winners in our eyes. Thank you.
Definitely coffee.
Yeah.
And most likely, the overall winner will get a slightly used brew device. Not sure what that is. Might be something good, might not.
Maybe something not.
But it's free, so
okay,
just enjoy it.
Maybe let me throw this out there real quick.
Uh-oh.
There was a knockoff V60 that I bought from Amazon. This knockoff V60 is actually the same one that they use over at Stepping Stones.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And it's terrible.
You don't like... No, we're not giving something terrible.
That's why I didn't want to give it away. I put it in the giveaway box to go to the Goodwill.
Yeah.
Is that appropriate? I don't want to give away garbage on the show. And it's a garbage brewer. I said bripper. It's a garbage bripper.
It's a bripper.
Yeah, it's not a bripper. It's a brew dripper.
Kind of
and it's a garbage bripper.
No, I was thinking maybe one of the plastic Hario.
I got that white one.
We got the white one, or we could just order one, because they're not too expensive.
That's probably cheaper just to order it from Amazon and send it to somebody.
Send it to you. So that's where I'm leaning.
Then I'm going to do the clear one.
I'm leaning in that direction. Sick. If you already have one, maybe you don't have the plastic, but who doesn't need a backup, right?
Who doesn't need a backup V60? I've got 3.
Okay, so for Facebook, I think I would agree with you. I thought what was enjoyable about this is just hearing people that kind of have listened to the show and know a little bit about our interactions.
And they know how to make us hurt.
And I think Matt did the best because these were directed at Jake, and I appreciated that, Matt. So Matt is our Facebook winner. Wait, what? You don't like that?
I'm feeling a little emotionally confused. Like, you're rewarding people for picking on me, and now you want me to celebrate them.
That's okay. I think the winner...
Yay for Matt?
But yes, yay for Matt.
Sad for Jake?
Sure. Because Instagram is the reverse.
Okay. Yay, Matt. Congratulations.
I think our winner on Instagram, in my opinion, was Mike the Blue Cow.
Mike the Blue Cow.
After Jake cleans up the mess, and I say, thanks, Jake. You're my savory. Jake says, bad. Not sure you're using that word right.
Because let's be honest, you're not. You are not using the word right.
That's how I mean it. Words can mean whatever you want.
That's right. Words have no meaning, right?
Whatever
you want them. Perfect, Mike.
So there you go. You guys, we really appreciate all the comments.
So what are we giving away?
I just said we're going to give
coffee
and
a dripper.
And I think Matt will get a dripper.
Okay.
And Mike, as a runner-up, will just get, a bag of coffee, some samples. We'll make it good. We do what we do, right?
All right. So Matt and Mike the Blue Cow, congratulations.
Thanks for participating.
Yeah, thank you everyone for participating. But now I feel like everybody else kind of gets left out.
Well, and they didn't because they got to roast us a little bit. So hopefully that was worth something. I don't know. It's something new. Had fun with it. If you want us to put more screenshots, I got loads of screenshots.
No,
I got loads of screenshots.
No, it's not necessary.
If you want to do this again.
If we could do ones that don't have me looking like a goober.
I try to put me out there every once in a while, but more so you.
Yeah.
Because you used to take little sayings I said in the podcast and highlight them.
I did. It's a lot of work.
It's time consuming.
And so here's the deal. It's either I can go through and I can find a great funny quote and put it at the front and do all that, or I can just sling as much content out there as possible.
Yeah.
And we're erring on the side of the latter at the moment.
Trying to provide more value.
I mean, it'd be nice to have the joke quotes and also kind of the time segment breakdown for people that want to skip ahead. They don't want to listen to the full hour of us talking, but they want to hear about, Rube's Good Brain Coffee.
Yeah,
they
want to jump to that.
They want to jump to that section.
Minute mark
that'd be
or whatever.
Nice.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I just don't.
That's the intern's work.
Jay Dizzle, where you at?
We're getting an intern.
And goodbye. Goodbye, and thank you for listening to the Orange Cactus Coffee Podcast. As always, the show notes are at orangecactuscoffee.com/episode 120. And no, we don't have an intern, so not yet. But anyways, thank you so much for listening. We will catch you next time.